I always feel like a spy for some reason. Can you guys see the difference? I don't know what it is. It just is much more comfortable. It's a nice natural amount of hair. Not too much, not too little. And it's just giving this natural beachy wave look, which 10 out of 10, love it. Hi everybody, welcome back to the Chiquel YouTube channel. My name is Amanda and today I'm going to show you guys 4 of the new wigs by the Alexander Couture Collection from Rene of Paris. But before I jump into all of those wigs, I'm going to remind you to like this video and subscribe to my YouTube channel where you can learn even more about alternative hair. All right, so it is July 2025 right now, and in June, just a few weeks ago, Rene of Paris's Alexander Couture Collection came out with 4 new heat-friendly synthetic styles. I have all 4 of them to show you today, so I'm not gonna wait any longer. I'm just gonna jump right in it and show you the first one I have called Aria. Aria here is in their new color called Peaches and Cream. Now looking at this color, it is very much strawberry. This is like very strawberry blonde, almost leaning a little bit orangey-ish. Not quite, but almost. But then we have these cool ash, almost white streaks throughout to lighten it up. And then at the front, obviously when I put this on, you'll be able to see it better. But you almost have even more of the cool blonde up at the front where the bangs are as well. And then we do have a root. It is, I would say, a light brown root. So this isn't gonna be as stark and dark. It has, you can tell, it is just a nice smudging effect going into the rest of the color here. So it's not gonna be a super dark brown root. It's a nice light brown root. Very lovely. But once I put this on, you'll be able to see the color even better. Let's just take a quick glance at this cap before I put it on. So we have an extended lace front here. It's going all the way into part of your ear tabs here. It just melts gradually into your ear tabs. And then we have a center monofilament part that extends almost to the back of the crown, not quite. Around here we have that wefting where you're gonna find just a little bit of permatease on the cap, which I'll show you in a minute. The rest of your cap is just an open wefted cap, nice and ventilated and breathable, stretchy. Plus we have velvet ear tabs. We have a velvet nape and your Velcro adjusters where you can loosen it or tighten it about up to ½ an inch or so. So let's put on Aria and get a better look at the color and of the style. We have this really cute bob with bangs. I always feel like a spy for some reason when I put on these styles, these bobs with the bangs. It reminds me of watching like a spy movie and then you have like the girl spy who puts on, usually it's like a dark color though. It's usually like a dark brown or a black wig and they're wearing like a trench coat and sunglasses. I don't know why this reminds me of that, but it does. Okay, so like I said in the beginning of this video, all of these styles are made with high heat fiber, so heat-friendly synthetic fiber. Now, this is not the softest fiber I've ever felt in my entire life, to be quite honest with you. It's not horrible, it's just not the softest I've felt. Aria here is a light to medium density, and then like I was saying earlier, we have a little bit of permatease in the cap. So this is your center monofilament part. Let me get that part for you so we can see what that looks like. Hopefully you can see that. I feel like it's a little bit dense here. And when I say dense, I just feel like there's a little bit too much hair there so that you can't necessarily see the part maybe as much as you'd like to. Let me find a different spot to part it and see if it changes at all. See if you can see the part at all. Just feels like a little bit more dense than some other styles. And then around where that part is, you're gonna have a little bit of permatease in that wefted section up here. It's not a lot though, it's just a little bit, enough to like play around with it, give it some lift, and just like a touch in the crown, but like so very slim. So overall, you're gonna find just like the teensiest amount of permatease around this cap. And sorry, as I'm like playing around with this, it's moving around so much on me. This is very quite large on me. I would say that this is fitting a little bit bigger than average. It's even in terms of where the ear tabs are sitting on me, they're kind of like, I feel like they are pretty much in my ear crease there. They're a little bit a little bit bothersome for me. So I measure 20.5 inches in circumference, 11.5 inches front to nape, and 11.5 inches ear to ear, just for reference. I am a petite size. Most wigs are a little bit big on me, but this one just feels like extra. Like I can just so easily take it off, and I just feel like I can just get it right over top of my ears super easily. So if you are an average, this will work better for you. If you are a little bit bigger than average, this should also work for you too. If you are a petite, you may not enjoy the fit quite as much. So the Alexander Couture Collection, like I was mentioning earlier, is by Rene of Paris. It's an extension of Rene of Paris. And a lot of the Alexander Couture Collection styles, I'm not gonna say they're budget friendly, but they're like almost budget friendly. They're definitely a little bit of a lower cost than your other brands might be. So if you are looking for something a little bit less expensive, you might want to check out Alexander Couture. In saying all that though, like I mentioned earlier, these fibers are not as soft as maybe some other brands. And this cap in particular on Aria, on my bald head here, it's feeling a little bit rough. Like I don't feel like I would be comfortable wearing this all day long, to be honest with you. I probably would want to wear like a bamboo wig cap underneath this because it is feeling a little bit scratchy throughout the wefting, a little bit rough. Maybe not scratchy, scratchy's not the right word. It's just a little bit rough. And even in the seams where like any sewing has taken place, I just feel like, especially right in this spot here, I don't know if I can even show you, right in here, that's a little bit rough on my skin too. And that's like right behind my ears. So just making you, oh my gosh, this tag, just making you aware, just in case comfort is a huge thing for you, either find a bamboo wig cap to wear underneath or just be aware. I haven't done a full spin for you yet, so let me do that. You're gonna find it's a little bit longer at the front, just by a little bit. However, that is like counteracted by this, the kind of curl it has in it. So then it almost makes it look like it's all the same length, but the front technically is longer. It's just curled up. Now, one thing I didn't show you yet was the lace front on this. So let me pull this back for you. You're gonna find that the knotting is a little bit noticeable on this one. However, of course, you have these bangs. So the bangs are gonna come down in front and you're not gonna see any of that anyways. So overall, you guys, style, really cute. I know that a lot of people love this type of a style. Comfort level, not the best. And I'm not really loving how the fibers are moving. It doesn't feel like it moves as naturally as I want it to. And I think that might still be in part due to how the fibers are feeling. So overall, am I loving this wig with a burning passion? I am not. But as something that is a little bit lower budget than others and something that you could get for around 150 US dollars when it's on sale, not so bad. So definitely just things to consider about Aria. Okay, next up, I have to show you guys Rosanna. Look at this cutie patootie. So let's take a look at the cap first, why don't we? The cap is gonna be similar-ish to Aria, but there's a big difference that I want to point out to you. So we have the lace front, the extended lace front, I should say, and that center part here. However, this is made with a different material than the monofilament that we just saw on Aria, and let me show you the difference. So monofilament is what a lot of you are typically used to seeing on most of these big brands in the part line and at the front. And it's a little bit of a scratchy, stiffer material and something that usually blends pretty seamlessly with your skin. And the monofilament is made with a similar material that you would use for like a fishing line. That essentially is monofilament as well. So that is what you see on Aria. However, when we look at Rosanna here, I don't know if you can tell the difference. I'll try to get that into focus, but this is a lace. So this lace here in comparison to this monofilament, can you guys see the difference? This lace is softer, so it's not gonna be quite as scratchy. However, this lace is a little bit more porous and it's gonna be a little bit more visible on your skin and not blend quite as well into your skin, which I'll show you in a second here. So I just wanna make sure you guys know that Rosanna here is different than Aria, and it's not the same monofilament that you would see on other styles that you might be used to. But the rest of this cap here is just gonna be wefted. So we have open wefting throughout your whole cap, stretchy, ventilated, and breathable. You have your velvet ear tabs, your velvet nape, and your Velcro adjusters. So let's get Rosanna on. Putting this one on already feels much more comfortable than Aria was. Like quite a bit different in comfort level, you guys. So I think it is in part to do with the lace. The monofilament on Aria was a little bit scratchy, to be honest. This lace is definitely softer feeling. And just the cap in general, I don't know what it is. It just is much more comfortable. Rosanna here is fitting a little bit more true to average than Aria was. So although it is big on me, it's not quite as big as Aria was fitting. Okay, so let's tame these bangs a little bit. Let me give you a little bit of a spin. So again, this is made with a heat-friendly synthetic fiber. You could straighten this out if you wanted. You could add more curl. You could kind of do whatever you want with heat to this style. We have a lot of hair on here though, guys. This is closer to a medium density. And you are gonna find some permatease throughout your whole cap here, which of course makes this like super big. You can get a lot of volume here. This is like your fun party wig. This is like, I'm the fun aunt. Now, although you can get it nice and big, you can sort of tone it down. I'm not gonna say you can fully tone it down because all of these waves are gonna like poof it out a little bit, but let me kind of flatten it out for you as best I can. So it definitely goes down a little bit, but you know, it's still gonna be a lot of hair. You might have a hard time with tucking on this one. You can tuck, but I feel like it might just like eventually like pop out of the tuck, but you can do a little bit of a tuck. It's just not all gonna go behind your ears because there's just a lot of it. But let me just point out how cute this is with an ear tuck. I always feel like a little like Tinkerbell or like a fairy whenever I do an ear tuck. I don't know if it's because my ears are like big and pointy. They're not really, but I don't know. It just accentuates the ears, making me feel like a little fairy, which I kind of love. All right, these bangs are gonna be a nice wispy bang. There's not too much bang happening, like it's not super duper thick, but it's a cute wispy bang that is a little bit long on me, to be honest. I would probably cut it, get it a little bit shorter so I can see a little bit better. But of course, we all have different size foreheads, so you gotta do what's gonna work best for you. I do find though that because there is a lot of hair on here and it's got some permatease, the back kind of like, whew, it kind of like comes out a bit. I mean, I guess that kind of adds to the whole fun of this wig. It's just a little bit of a wild and crazy style. Okay, now let's talk about that lace front. That's a different material than the monofilament. So, like I said, you are probably gonna see this lace a little bit more than the monofilament. It doesn't blend as well, in my opinion, at least on my skin. It might work differently on your skin, but it doesn't blend as well on my skin. So I'm thankful of the bangs on Rosanna here because then you're not gonna see that anyways. And then you kind of, like the knotting situation here, you can kind of see them. I mean, they're there. If you look closely, you're gonna be able to see these knots pretty visibly. And then let me get you that part. We still have got that zigzag part in here, but here's that part line. A little bit more dense back here than some other brands might be. So just keep that in mind if it's something that might bother you. And then this is the color Buttercream Blonde Rooted. This is like your typical neutral, leaning a little bit on the cool side, rooted blonde. This is like a Shaded Biscuit by Raquel Welch. This is like kind of like a milkshake blonde from Beltress. So similar idea here. And then we have that medium brown root that smudges nicely into the rest of your color here. All right, let me show you guys wig number 3, and this one is called Bryony. Bryony I have here in the color Billionaire Blonde. So this one, I wanted to show it to you now in comparison to Buttercream Blonde. You're gonna see that Billionaire Blonde is more ash. This is an ash cool. There's like no warmth to this at all. Very ash. And then at the front, you have this money piece here. This bright highlight coming to the front of your face of that more platinum blonde. Here throughout the style, you have like that ash blonde, and then your platinum blonde is sort of speckled throughout with much more of that in the front here. And then up top, we do have a bit of rooting. I would say this is a medium leaning light brown root that goes nicely into the rest of your color. So it is a nice dimensional blonde. It's actually a really beautiful blonde, but you can definitely see the ashiness in comparison to your Buttercream blonde here. Okay, let me take off Rosanna and we're gonna look at the cap of Bryony here. So we have that same lace situation here. This is not the monofilament material that we saw on Aria in the beginning and what you see on a lot of other styles from other brands. This is lace. So it's gonna be soft, and then it's gonna be more porous, and it's gonna be a little bit more visible on your skin. Okay, so we have a monofilament top here. Now, this is not a large monofilament top. Part of me even wants to say that this is a really wide center part or a small monofilament top. I don't really know what to call it, to be honest with you, because it's bigger than a center part, but it's smaller than a monofilament top. You can part it to the left, you can part it to the right, but you couldn't do a deep left part and you couldn't do a deep right part. So just keep that in mind. And then we have that going directly into your little bit of an extended lace front here with that same lace material. We have an open wefted cap, and then we have your velvet ear tabs, a velvet extended nape on this one. So when I say extended nape, it means there's about an inch of that velvet material here. That provides a little bit more comfort for you at the back. And then we have your Velcro adjusters. So let's get Bryony on in Billionaire Blonde. Bryony is feeling quite large on my head. So I feel like this is average, leaning a bit bigger than average. Okay, she's a long one. All right, now that she's all situated on my head, you can now see the brighter platinum highlights coming forward and framing your face here on this color, and then going more into the ash tone throughout. Let's do a spin so you can see this whole style first. So again, Bryony is also made with heat-friendly synthetic fiber. This is gonna be an easy one to maintain because there's no waves, there's no curl on this. Although you're gonna find this gets tangly pretty quickly, pretty easily, and although you're gonna find that it's gonna get frizzy ends due to friction on your clothing, due to combing through to get those tangles out, it's gonna get those frizzy ends. But like I said, it's gonna be easier to maintain these frizzy ends because there's no waves, because there's no curls. So you could take, what I would do, my favorite method for a long style like this would be to spray it with water and get a blow dryer brush or hot air brush, whatever you wanna call it, and go through the ends with that to help maintain a little bit of this curve happening here, and the heat will get the frizz out. It is, however, something that you're gonna have to do every couple of wears because frizz on heat-friendly fiber, it happens fast. It happens within, a wear or two, to be quite honest with you, especially when they are longer than your shoulders. Overall though, guys, this style is gorgeous. The layering is lovely. You have these longer face framing bits here, which in my opinion, always make it great for an updo, having that available to use. Help frame your face to give it a softer look around your hairline. That's always nice to have. But let me come and show you the lace front here. So this is quite long. There's a lot of lace beyond your hairline here. Something that you might want to cut. Like I said, this is fitting a little bit bigger than average, in my opinion. It is bigger on me. So if I were to pull it tighter, I'm gonna pull it a bit tighter in the back right now, then the lace isn't gonna lift as much. Because it's so big on me, this is doing that, which not ideal. But once you pull this tighter, if this fits you well, then that's gonna lay flat. But that doesn't really change the fact that this lace is visible on my head here. Give you kind of different angles so you can see. So this is definitely a lace I would cut back. On Bryony here, you're not gonna find any permatease. So this is gonna lay pretty low to your head, which is lovely for a lot of people. Some people find that if there's too much permatease, you know, they feel like they're wearing a helmet and it feels like there's not as much natural movement going on. So laying low to your head here. Now, in terms of the density on this, it's definitely not a light density. You're not gonna find this to be a low density style, but it's not that there's too much hair on here either. So I would say this is a low to medium density if I were to give it a rating here. So it's a nice natural amount of hair. Not too much, not too little. And let me show you guys, I was talking about this monofilament here and how you might not be able to do like a deep left or deep right. This is as far of a left part you can go. So it's, you know, it's a good left part. It's pretty decent. And then if you want it to stay there, you are gonna have to use heat to make it stay there because it's gonna wanna fight you. So using a little bit of water, taking a blow dryer, taking a hot comb, any type of heat really to help direct this in the direction you want it to go will help it stay much better. So let me show you what that part line is gonna look like here with that lace top. All right, let's get this back to the center where it wants to be. Okay, I've got one more wig for you guys. I have the wig called Roxie here. Roxie is gonna have essentially the same cap that we see on Bryony. Pardon me, can't remember all of these names. These caps are almost identical here. So they are pretty much the same. You might just notice a little bit of a difference in the area that the lace top takes up and sort of the shape of it. But overall, very similar caps. You have your same lace material. So you have your lace top here going into your lace front that extends into your ear tabs a little bit. Open wefting here, velvet ear tabs, velvet extended nape, and Velcro adjusters. So very similar cap to Bryony. So this one is Roxie and we have her in the color Cherry Merlot, which is your vibrant, deep, rich red color. And then you almost have these subtle copper highlights throughout it. I don't know if you can kind of see that. It's like a subtle, soft copper to give it a little bit more dimension. Quite lovely. There is no rooting on Cherry Merlot, by the way. But when I show you this, you can really see the definition of color in the highlighting there. Very cool color. Love it. Okay. So here is Roxie. Roxie fits average, leaning a little bit bigger. She honestly does not feel quite as big as Bryony did. Almost, but not quite. Okay, let me just start off by giving you guys a spin. Let me say, I love styles with this subtle beachy wave going on. This just makes me feel like I was just at the beach. I went for a swim. I got salt in my hair. The sun is shining on me. I'm letting it dry. And it's just giving this natural beachy wave look, which 10 out of 10. Love it. So Roxie here, I would say this is closer to a medium density, and it's definitely gonna feel closer to medium density because all these waves are gonna give it like a little bit more. But even in terms of how much hair is on this, it does feel like it's a medium density. You're also gonna find some permatease throughout almost your whole cap. I would say like the top 2/3 of your cap is gonna have permatease. It is a nice soft pillowy permatease. It doesn't feel too dense in there. So you can use that to just really get this nice and big if you want to. You're gonna have a really wispy curtain bang at the front here too. There's just a little bit of fiber at the front here that doesn't have the wave in it, but gives you that curtain bang look, that sort of long curtain bang. And that helps it sort of sweep away from your face. And also having that makes it great for updos. Again, giving you that softer look at the front and helping disguise the lace in the front if you need it to. So again, this also has that same lace material in the front and is also quite long. You would probably want to cut it back a little bit. It's also quite visible on my skin. So I would definitely cut this back. And like I said, these are a little big on me, so you're gonna get that lifting and that bunching if this doesn't fit you well. If I bring in the Velcro adjusters though, which I would, let me bring this in, it would fit me much better and you're not gonna see that lifting so much at all. So you can see it a little bit. The knotting on here, although I love how it's not so dense at the front, which allows you to pull off your face more easily. Although it's not dense, which I love, the knotting is kind of visible. And that's also due to the fact that this has that more lace material on it. So there she is, right at the front there. To be honest, this is not a wig I would pull off of my face. Like, I would not do a style back like that because that is going to expose this visible lace. You're gonna see the knotting kind of easily. This is one I would keep down for sure. However, this style, with it down, I don't know if you guys notice here, it seems a little sparse. I don't know if that is just this particular wig, like this particular one, if it's sparse right here, or if all of the Roxies are gonna have, like if I back up, you can kind of see it's like a little bit of a bald spot there. So as much as I want to be confident and say that this is just this one, I don't want to say that. It might be all of them. So definitely poke around if you can, see if there's anyone else out there who is doing a review on Roxie and what theirs looks like as well, because that is not great. If I were to part it, let's see if that changes. It changes a little bit. But honestly, the front is not very dense on this. So maybe that's just, might just be the way it is. I don't know. We'll have to see. Have to poke around and see a little bit. But this is what it looks like with a left part. So with the left part, you can kind of sweep those longer curtain bangs to the side, giving you that like side swept look. Sort of. All right, you guys, that is it. That is all I have to share with you about these 4 new styles by Rene of Paris's Alexander Couture Collection. Like I said, these are almost budget friendly. They're just a little bit of a lower pricing than your other bigger brands might be. And that might be all you need in order to want to purchase these, which is awesome. The great thing about having all of these options is that we are able to find something that might work for us because everyone's needs are different. For me, if I were to cut the lace back on Roxie and cut the lace back on Bryony here, these are 2 styles that I would feel comfortable wearing. Whereas Aria in the beginning, that one to me felt a little bit wiggy on me and also, like I was mentioning, a little bit uncomfortable. But hopefully I was able to give you guys enough of the facts for you to make an informed decision on if these are something that will work for you. Let me know in the comments what you think about them, if there's a style here that you love, or maybe not. Maybe you just don't see one that you would wear, and that's okay too. But I'd love to hear from you guys. Have a lovely day, and I will see you all next time. Bye, everybody.